The dream of bringing Trey Murphy to the Boston Celtics is officially dead. The New Orleans Pelicans have slammed the door shut on any potential deal. Roster building in the modern basketball era has just become a massive puzzle. Brad Stevens must now pivot his attention toward realistic targets before the upcoming season begins. The front office is forced to navigate strict financial rules that completely restrict their ability to make roster additions. Understanding the sudden death of the Trey Murphy sweepstakes requires a deep dive into the salary cap sheet. The Celtics recently generated a massive $27.7 million traded player exception in a previous deal. That enormous exception was created when the front office decided to send Anthony Simons to the Portland Trail Blazers. Fans were incredibly excited about the supreme leverage this financial tool would provide during the summer. In theory, a trade exception allows a franchise to absorb a massive player salary without sending any active players back. It is normally an absolute weapon for a general manager looking to add pure talent to a championship core. Trey Murphy earns a salary that fits perfectly inside that exception space, but the brand new collective bargaining agreement has changed the game completely. Roster building is no longer a simple game of matching numbers. The primary roadblock stems directly from a major free agency signing completed earlier this summer. Boston used their taxpayer mid-level exception to secure physical center Mitchell Robinson to fortify their interior defense. Using that specific mid-level exception triggered a severe league penalty. The Celtics are now permanently hard-capped at the first apron line for the entire season. They absolutely cannot cross that financial threshold. The league officially established the first apron line at $209 million. Right now, the active payroll for the Boston roster sits directly around $204 million after their latest transactions. That means the front office only possesses a tiny cushion of about $5 million of total breathing room. They are running incredibly close to the hard cap line, which completely paralyzes their ultimate spending power. A saving grace arrived when veteran star Paul George made a massive sacrifice for his new organization. The superstar forward officially chose to waive his lucrative trade kicker clause right after arriving in the blockbuster trade. Waiving that specific kicker saved the ownership group a significant sum of money. It successfully lowered his incoming cap hit and left the franchise precisely $8 million below the dreaded first apron hard cap line. Even with that extra financial cushion, the front office faces an impossible math problem. They cannot simply use their $27 million exception to absorb a giant contract without breaking the league cap laws. Absorbing a player like Trey Murphy using the exception would instantly add his full contract to the payroll. That move would push the Celtics way over the first apron boundary, which is a total violation of their hard cap status. To acquire a player making substantial money, Boston is legally forced to send out an equal amount of active salary. The path to simply dropping a brand new star onto the current roster without losing depth is completely dead. To make the financial math function for a star player, the Celtics would have to sacrifice a major core piece. They would be forced to trade away either veteran star Paul George or their elite defensive guard Derek White. Losing either of those crucial rotation pieces completely defeats the original purpose of the trade exception. The main goal of the front office was to add pure talent to the roster while preserving their current championship core. Furthermore, the New Orleans Pelicans have completely shifted their organizational stance on their young wing. They view Murphy as a foundational piece for their own future and have zero desire to let him walk away easily. The Pelicans are notorious for being a highly confusing franchise to negotiate with during the offseason. They have made it clear to rival teams that they will only part with Murphy if they receive an absolutely staggering offer. Since a massive splash is highly unlikely, Brad Stevens is now focusing his attention on smaller target moves. The front office is looking at quality role players who can seamlessly accentuate the legendary game of Jayson Tatum. If you want to track how this complex roster puzzle unfolds, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel right now for daily updates. Your support helps us provide these deep financial breakdowns all season long. Recent league intelligence suggests 3 highly intriguing defensive targets have appeared on the Boston radar. The front office could potentially target defensive stalwarts like Herb Jones, Keldon Johnson, or Lu Dort. These specific role players earn significantly less money than Trey Murphy next season. Their lower cap hits make a potential transaction much more realistic under the current constraints of the first apron hard cap rules. Let us break down the exact financial details for each of these alternative targets. Defensive mastermind Herb Jones is scheduled to earn $14.9 million next season with the New Orleans Pelicans. Scoring forward Keldon Johnson sits on the books at $17.5 million with San Antonio. Perimeter lock Lu Dort is scheduled to make $18.2 million with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Celtics would still be required to move an active contract to bring any of these players to town. They could theoretically combine their trade exception with the contract of backup sharpshooter Sam Hauser. Hauser is currently scheduled to earn $10.8 million for the upcoming season. Sending his contract out would allow the team to legally absorb a player making up to $15 or $18 million. The ultimate question for Brad Stevens is whether any of these targets represent a definitive upgrade. Is it truly worth sacrificing future draft assets and adding long-term team salary for these specific players? Let us evaluate the individual basketball fit for each option, starting with Herb Jones. Jones is an absolute defensive stud who can comfortably guard multiple positions across the perimeter with his elite length. He applies incredible point-of-attack pressure and disrupts passing lanes effortlessly, but his offensive game remains highly questionable. He has shown a very streaky outside shot throughout his young basketball career. Opposing coaches routinely ignore him on the perimeter during high-stakes playoff games. That lack of shooting gravity could severely clog the paint and make life incredibly difficult for Jayson Tatum when he drives. Furthermore, Jones signed a massive 3-year, $68 million contract extension. That deal is officially scheduled to kick in during the 2027 season, which would destroy future cap flexibility. Next, let us look at perimeter defender Lu Dort from Oklahoma City, built like a football linebacker, and brings an unmatched level of physical intensity to the defensive side of the basketball court. He can completely lock down opposing superstar guards and force them into costly turnovers. He is currently playing on an expiring contract, which means he would provide instant financial relief next summer. But just like Jones, his offensive limitations are a major concern for a championship offense. His three-point shooting percentages fluctuate wildly from month to month, which frustrates coaching staffs. Finally, let us analyze scoring forward Keldon Johnson from the San Antonio Spurs. Johnson successfully scaled down his individual offensive role and won the prestigious 6th Man of the Year award this past season. He provides high-energy scoring bursts off the bench and attacks the rim with absolute ferocity. But his outside shot remains highly unreliable, and he is widely considered a massive liability on the defensive end. His defensive flaws were so apparent that he routinely got played completely off the floor during the playoffs. It makes very little sense for Boston to target a player who cannot survive intense postseason basketball. When you compare all three options to Sam Hauser, the reality becomes incredibly clear. Substantially upgrading over Hauser is going to be an extremely difficult task for this front office to accomplish this summer. Hauser certainly has his fair share of individual flaws on the court, but he is an absolute marksman from beyond the arc. His incredible shooting gravity completely alters how opposing defenses configure their schemes. He creates pristine driving lanes for Jayson Tatum simply by standing on the perimeter. Defenders refuse to leave his side because he can knock down shots from anywhere. He also rarely turns the basketball over. His perimeter defense is also highly underrated by national media critics. He executes the team defensive schemes flawlessly and uses his size well. He is currently playing on an excellent team-friendly contract. He is entering the second year of a highly affordable 4-year contract worth $5 million. Most importantly, the coaching staff already knows that his selfless playing style fits perfectly next to Tatum. Unless a clear and obvious upgrade materializes, the Celtics should absolutely stand pat. Making a marginal trade on the fringes of the roster would likely be incredibly costly and yield very little actual return. The wisest move for Brad Stevens is simply to ride out the upcoming season with the current group. This approach allows the coaching staff to fully evaluate the brand new roster dynamic on the floor without panic. This strategic patience positions the organization beautifully for the future. It allows the franchise to successfully duck below the luxury tax threshold this season and completely reset their repeater penalties. Resetting those severe tax penalties will give the ownership group total freedom next summer. They will be able to hit the ground running with absolutely no apron restrictions or heavy financial penalties to fear. They will enter the next offseason armed with a massive expiring contract and a surplus of valuable draft capital. The front office is playing the long game to ensure this championship window remains open for a decade. Let us know what you think about this realistic front office strategy in the comments section below. Do you think keeping Sam Hauser is smarter than trading for a defensive specialist like Herb Jones or Lu Dort?